At the beginning of the movie, we see a man stabbing himself with a knife. Just then, his daughter Tantri runs in and tries to stop him, but her father refuses to listen and drives the knife straight into his own chest. After that, Tantri's father starts chanting a spell. Tantri repeats the same chant along with him. It's a special prayer meant to drive away evil forces. The father is using this prayer like a protective shield to keep his daughter safe. While chanting, he picks up a hurricane lantern in his hand. Suddenly, we see a terrifying demon standing behind them. All of a sudden, the lantern slips from his hand, and a fire breaks out, killing him on the spot. The heat from the flames also burns the skin on both of Tantri's hands. After this, the scene shifts to the present day. Even now, Tantri still gets scared when she remembers that nightmare from her childhood. We can still see the burn marks on her hands. Later, Tantri gets off a bus and arrives at a student dormitory. On the dormitory's notice board, she sees a notice about 2 people who have gone missing. At that moment, Tantri grabs the necklace around her neck. 2 girls arrive there and call Tantri the scholarship student. Without saying anything to them, Tantri walks straight into her room. As soon as the door opens, we see a demonic hand on Tantri's shoulder. But in the next moment, it turns out to be the same 2 girls. Now Faye and Asta introduce themselves to Tantri. They ask if she will be living there alone and warn her to be careful before leaving. As soon as Tantri enters the room, she finds a group photo of some friends. On the back of the photo, it says, "I hate all of you." The photo slips from her hand and slides under the bed. When she bends down to pick it up, she suddenly sees a terrifying girl under the bed. Tantri screams in fear, but in the very next moment, the girl disappears. Meanwhile, Asta receives a message on her phone from her uncle Jamal, who is checking on her. Just then, Asta looks into the mirror and sees herself cutting her own throat with a piece of glass. The scene then cuts to the next morning in the cafeteria. Tantri asks Faye and Asta if anything strange has ever happened in this hostel. She tells them that ever since she arrived, she has been seeing things she has never seen before. She wants to know the history of this place. Faye and Asta explain that last year, 2 of their friends went missing, and no one has heard from them since. Asta talks about a friend named Arun. She says that one day Arun's father came to pick her up, and after that, both of them disappeared. No one has been able to contact them since then. Faye then tells the story of another friend named Lukey, who also went missing. She says everyone believes Lukey committed suicide because a note was found in her locker. But even if she did take her own life, her dead body has never been found to this day. Meanwhile, in the cafeteria, 2 boys get into an argument. Annoyed, Reza tells Mahesh to stop going to Arun's house and move on from the past. But Mahesh becomes emotional and says it's not easy for him to forget like everyone else, because Arun was a very good friend to him. Reza admits that Arun was his friend too. They warn each other about their behavior and tell one another to be careful. Then Faye introduces Tantri to Reza, who is also a student in the same hostel. In the next scene, Tantri is taking a shower when she suddenly hears a noise. She pulls the curtain aside to check but doesn't see anyone. As soon as she starts showering again, we see another shadow entering inside from outside the curtain. Frightened, Tantri quickly finishes her shower and rushes out. After she leaves, we see in the mirror that a girl is following behind her. After that, while Faye is listening to music, the radio suddenly starts playing by itself, saying, "Blood must be shed to bring me back to life." At the same moment, the door of her room slowly opens on its own. When Faye goes to check, we see the shadow of a girl moving toward her. As soon as Faye steps outside, the door suddenly locks. Terrified, she pushes it, and the door opens again. When she goes inside, she sees a shadow behind the window curtain. The moment she pulls the curtain aside, the ghost of that girl begins haunting her viciously. The scene then cuts to Tantri's room. She is sitting while holding a photo of her mom and dad. In a flashback, we see her father putting a necklace around her neck and telling her that her mother had left it for her. Remembering this makes Tantri emotional, and she falls asleep while holding the photo. Soon, Tantri sees Lukey in her dream. Lukey is writing a note saying he regrets what he has done and that he is leaving, asking no one to look for him. Then he picks up a nail. It looks like his hand is not under his control. He suddenly drives the nail straight into his ear. At that moment, in the mirror behind Lukey, we see the same demon that was seen at the time of Tantri's father's death. The demon says that to stay alive, it needs blood. After that, Lucky leaves the place and goes to a well. He cuts his own throat and jumps into it. In her dream, Tantri touches the wall of the well, and blood gets on her hand. Seeing this, she suddenly wakes up from her sleep, but the blood is still on her hand. When she touches her face, the blood smears there as well. Tantri becomes even more terrified. The next morning, Lukey's dead body is found in the same well. After investigating, the police officer says that he actually died about 5 days ago. Faye is extremely scared. She tells Asta that her nightmares are now turning into reality and everything feels real. Asta calls Tantri closer and says that since Tantri was the one who found Lukey's dead body, maybe she can also find their missing friend Arun. When they go out to search for Arun, Mahesh forces Tantri to explain how she found Lukey's body. Seeing this makes Reza furious, and an argument breaks out between them. Asta calms them both down. Soon they arrive in front of Arun's house, which looks abandoned for a long time. Tantri peeks inside through the window and suddenly sees the reflection of that strange girl. Shocked, she reaches out her hand, but the window glass suddenly shatters and cuts her hand. Faye quickly wraps a piece of cloth around it to stop the bleeding. Meanwhile, Asta finds a way to get inside the house. Inside Arun's room, they are shocked to see all the drawers and closets wide open. Reza says that maybe Mahesh did this to destroy evidence or to search for something. Asta questions how Reza is so sure that Mahesh is responsible. Suddenly, Tantri becomes possessed, and at that moment a sinister chant can be heard. A ritual meant to bring someone back to life in exchange for another life. Tantri then sees that strange girl again and starts following her. As soon as Tantri enters another room, an invisible force suddenly moves the bed aside. Underneath it, there is a demonic symbol. Tantri slowly kneels in front of the symbol. Strange prayers are written around it, and suddenly a book appears there. Tantri picks up the book. Meanwhile, the others realize that Tantri is no longer with them, even though she was just there a moment ago. At the same time, Tantri begins reading a spell from the book. In exchange for the blood of 5 sinners, the dead shall be brought back to life. Just then, Asta places her hand on Tantri's shoulder, and Tantri immediately returns to normal. When they notice the demonic symbol and see their own names written on it, they are terrified. They realize that all of them are cursed. Reza and Faye begin blaming each other because everyone's name was on the list. Tantri says that she has nothing to do with this incident, but Asta reminds her that ever since they arrived here, everything from Lukey's body to the Book of Spells was discovered by Tantri herself, so she cannot claim to be innocent. Asta tells Tantri that she is the chosen one who can stop this curse. Anyway, Tantri agrees to perform the ritual. She doesn't make any big promises, but says she will try her best. As soon as the ritual begins, Tantri becomes possessed again. Then all of them together start chanting a sinister spell, "Bring me back to life in exchange for the blood of 5 sinners." As the chant is repeated again and again, a terrifying atmosphere fills the place. Suddenly, a demonic force speaks, saying that the scent of a virgin girl's blood has awakened the cursed spell. Those who asked for its help will now become slaves of the devil. Then the demon appears and tells Tantri that he has given a debt to 5 sinners. In return, he will take away their wives, daughters, and even the generations that follow. Until their dying breath, he will fill their lives with fear and force them to carry this debt forever. The demon tells Tantri that he will only free everyone from the curse if she goes with him. Tantri begs him to stop this destruction and asks how many more lives he wants. The entity humiliates her and says that now she is his only hope. After saying this, the demon disappears into smoke. On the way back in the car, Faye nervously says that the demon wants to take their lives. Asta scolds Faye and tells her to stay quiet. Asta then asks Reza to drop her home, and Reza drives her back. Tantri tries to reassure Faye, saying that if their intentions are pure, nothing bad will happen. But Faye feels that things are getting stranger day by day. Faye and Reza start arguing. Tantri raises a question. Why did Arun's special spell stop at Lukey? And why was Lukey the one who died? She realizes that all of their lives are now in danger, but Reza brushes it off and says that nothing bad has happened yet, so there's no need to worry so much. Meanwhile, when Asta enters her house, she sees Uncle Jamal sleeping. Quietly, she takes a pair of scissors and cuts a small piece of his beard. Suddenly, he wakes up. He starts walking toward Asta in a very strange way and complains that she hasn't been replying to his messages. Then he notices the scissors in her hand. As the situation escalates, he begins forcing himself on Asta and then sexually assaults his own niece. Later that night, Reza drops Faye and Tantri at the dormitory and goes to park the car. Suddenly, the demon appears behind him and starts choking him. Hearing his scream, Tantri and Faye run toward him. But by the time they reach there, the demon has already disappeared. Faye and Tantri keep asking Reza what happened, but angrily he replies that he's fine. When Faye returned to the hostel, she sat in front of the mirror crying. Suddenly, a demonic hand appeared on her face. Faye's scream echoed throughout the entire hostel. Meanwhile, Tantri was heading to the washroom when she once again heard that same ominous chant. Inside the washroom, Tantri became possessed again and saw the demon brutally killing Asta's uncle. When she came back to her senses, Tantri realized that Asta was using that cursed book with the chant for her own purpose. Because of this, Tantri immediately demanded that Asta return the cursed book. When Asta refused, Tantri warned her that someone else might fall victim to the curse. By now, Tantri had realized that Asta had already done something horrifying. As Tantri tried to take the book, Faye suddenly revealed a dark and painful secret about Asta's life in front of everyone. She explained that Asta's own uncle had been raping her since childhood. Because of this unbearable pain, Asta had even tried to commit suicide once. Faye further revealed that Asta had once become pregnant and later had to undergo an abortion. When Tantri tried to show sympathy for Asta, she told him to leave the room. But Tantri clearly said they cared about her and would not leave until the cursed book was returned, so that no one else's life would be ruined. Tantri again asked Asta for the cursed book. However, Asta refused and challenged, asking what it would possibly do if she didn't give it back. Angrily, Tantri said it would no longer help her. Asta replied that she didn't need anyone's help. She told Tantri to leave immediately, and without saying another word, went and lay down to sleep. Just then, a girl came to asking for help. The scene cuts to the next day, where the hostel manager expresses his condolences over the death of Asta's uncle. Later in the cafeteria, Tantri meets the others, but no one talks to him. He walks out of the cafeteria and sits outside. Mahesh then comes and sits beside, saying that Tantri has now seen their true faces, explains that they had crossed every limit of morality. Mahesh reveals the horrifying truth behind Arun's disappearance. He says that Reza and Lukey had sexually harassed Arun. They had even made a bet about who could get into a physical relationship with Arun. In the end, Reza won the bet and leaked their private photos online. After learning about this disgusting act, Mahesh broke off his relationship with Asta and decided to stay away from everyone. Suddenly, something gets stuck in Asta's throat, and when it comes out, we see that it's a piece of glass. Seeing her in this condition, her friends insist on taking her home. But Asta refuses to listen to them. She says she wants to be alone and tells everyone to leave. Meanwhile, Tantri finds Asta's behavior very strange. Both Asta and Arun had suffered a lot in life, so Asta should have understood Arun's pain more than anyone else. At the same time, Asta spots Tantri and Mahesh together. Mahesh is overwhelmed with guilt because he couldn't save Arun. He shows Tantri some photos in which Arun's shadow can clearly be seen standing behind her. On the other side, Asta sneaks into Tantri's room and steals her photos and some personal belongings. Faye tries to stop her, but Asta refuses to listen. Meanwhile, Mahesh continues showing Tantri more pictures. Tantri recognizes the demon in the photos and says that it is Surugana. Elsewhere, Asta takes Tantri's photo, some blood, and strands of hair, and begins performing a black magic ritual to curse her. Faye is outside the room, desperately trying to get the door open. Suddenly, Asta comes out, now possessed. She violently pulls out Faye's hair and then shuts the door again. Terrified, Faye starts running away. But suddenly, the demon Surugana appears in front of her and lifts her into the air. Under the demon's influence, Faye gouges out her own eyes. Meanwhile, Tantri tells Mahesh that Surugana is actually the name of the book that was in Arun's house. Asta had been desperately searching for that book like a madwoman, and she was the one who destroyed Arun's room. She hadn't taken Tantri there to look for Arun. She took her there to find that book. And now the book is in Asta's possession. While talking, Tantri becomes possessed again. She suddenly finds herself in an unknown place where she hears a girl screaming in agony. When Tantri looks ahead, she sees 5 men brutally gang-raping a girl while she cries out in pain. The horrifying scene completely breaks Tantri and starts crying. Then he opens his eyes and sees the girl writing the names of those 5 monsters in a book, using her own blood to curse them. The girl declares that the chosen one will become the slave of the demon and will never find peace in life. She says that this curse will remain upon those 5 sinners, their wives, daughters, and their future generations until death. She further explains that resurrection will require the blood of those 5 guilty men. Immediately after saying this, the girl's body suddenly catches fire. Tantri then returns to reality and tells Mahesh everything she saw. She explains that she witnessed how a woman had been drugged and gang raped, and before setting herself on fire, she wrote the names of all the rapists in a book. Tantri says in shock that the list of names also included her own grandfather. Then they learn about the curse of that victimized woman. She had cursed all the future descendants of her rapists, saying they would suffer from bad luck their entire lives and would be forced to worship the devil just like she was. Tantri becomes extremely terrified. Mahesh believes that the curse chant might have stopped for a while, but when Arun became mentally unstable, it got activated again and took revenge on Lukey. They realize that the shadow of Arun that Tantri keeps seeing is actually a cry for help. Now both of them decide to work together to find Arun. Meanwhile, the evil force appears before Asta and tells her that the union of good and evil has made it visible now, and the process will only be completed with the sacrifice of pure blood. At the same time, Mahesh and Tantri arrive at Arun's house to search for her. As soon as they enter the house, they hear a sound from inside, and Mahesh moves forward to check it. Just then, the demon Surugana suddenly appears and tries to attack Tantri, but fails. The reason is the special prayer Tantri's father performed before his death, which is still acting as a protective shield for her. When Mahesh comes back, Tantri tells him that Surugana is present there. Suddenly, with a loud scream from Surugana, the glass around them shatters and flies toward them. Mahesh manages to save Tantri, but he himself gets badly injured. Meanwhile, Asta realizes that the ritual meant to kill Tantri has already failed. Tantri tries to bring Mahesh back to consciousness and, crying desperately, begs him not to leave her alone. Just then, Arun appears and asks Tantri for help. Tantri follows her, and the moment she reaches there, she experiences a vision. In the vision, Tantri sees that when Arun starts performing the satanic ritual, her father tries to stop her. He chains Arun up and apologizes, saying he had to take this step to prevent her from harming herself. He explains that Arun's grandfather used to hurt himself in the same way, and now Arun is following the same path. At that very moment, the ominous chant echoes again. To stay alive, a life must be taken and blood must be shed. In the next moment, Arun's father is suddenly thrown into the air and crashes into the ceiling, dying instantly. As soon as the vision ends, Tantri sees that Arun is actually there, chained up. Seen alive, Tantri runs toward him, but at that very moment, Asta stops her by placing a knife against Mahesh's throat. Asta says that the necklace around Tantri's neck belongs to Arun. That means Tantri knows the real reason behind all these mysterious events. Tantri tries to bring the possessed Asta back to her senses. She reminds her that Asta loves Mahesh, but it has no effect, and Asta suddenly slashes Mahesh's throat. After Mahesh dies, Asta briefly regains her senses, but moments later she becomes possessed again and cuts her own throat. After losing all of her friends, Tantri breaks down and starts crying uncontrollably. Suddenly, Arun becomes possessed and, with one powerful jerk, breaks the chains around his hands and feet. A voice from inside Arun reveals itself as Surugana, calls humans intruders and hypocrites in his world. Arrogantly says that something rotten or evil can never be turned into something good. Hearing this, Tantri picks up the knife. Surugana says he can look into human eyes and see their desire for death. Before he can even finish his sentence, Tantri drives the knife straight into his chest. After that, Tantri apologizes to Arun, and Arun thanks her. The scene then moves a few days forward. A TV news report reveals that Reza has been arrested on charges of sexual abuse. The scene then shifts back to the past, where Tantri's father tells her that when she was born, her mother was very ill. The doctors had only two options. Either the mother would survive or the baby. Without caring about her own life, Tantri's mother chose to save Tantri. After that, the father and daughter start reciting a special prayer together. The scene returns to the present, where Tantri burns the cursed book in a fire. Then we see Faye. At that moment, the demonic chant starts echoing again, and Faye begins screaming in pain. On the other hand, Reza repeatedly smashes his head in prison and ends his own life. In the final scene of the movie, it is shown that the cursed book has somehow returned to Tantri again, and she can now see the ghosts of all her friends. It's a mysterious ending that hints the danger is not completely gone yet. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section.